Sir, my ID's in my bag.
In the bag?
Yes, I'm a minor, sir. I have security guards. They left that in my bag, sir. I did not pack my bag.
They know Lil Meech is a little punk. Airport. Gun in the bag.
Yeah.
I go to private school. It's not mine, it's his gun.
Everyone knows Big Meech, a legendary figure, a street legend, and a powerful influence in hip-hop's story. The rise and fall of the Black Mafia family is deeply tied to his legacy. But when you shift the focus to his son, Lil Meech, something about that legacy doesn't quite carry the same weight. These days, when people think of the BMF name, some might compare it to a spectacle. Thanks to Lil Meech's recent string of controversies, let's talk about it. Here's the tricky part. Just like his father, Lil Meech probably feels pressure to carry on the legacy that made Big Meech a legend, to step into those shoes and embrace the same street image. But based on what we've seen, it's obvious he comes from a very different world. Rather than earning respect, some folks see him as pretending to be something he's not. While Big Meech built his reputation through struggle and hustle, rising from almost nothing to something massive, Lil Meech had a much softer upbringing.
It's not legal.
It's not legal what?
To have a firearm.
I'm talking about this.
Huh? No, another guy? Yeah.
And that was gonna be him already, so I really took a chance on using the money I had saved up for my family.
Yeah. I apologize for that, bro. I ain't gonna see you.
Reports say he attended private school, lived in a quiet neighborhood, and was raised with plenty of privilege. So it raises eyebrows when he presents a lifestyle tied to the streets, a world he never truly came from. On top of everything, his own behavior has only made things worse. One of the biggest blows to his image came when rumors of him cooperating with authorities started spreading. In their world, being seen as a snitch is the ultimate betrayal. It's something you just don't do. Back in 2022, things took a turn when he ran into trouble at the airport. TSA reportedly found a Glock 19 in a backpack that appeared to be his. From there, things unraveled quickly. Lil Meech started talking. A lot. First, he bizarrely claimed he was just a kid, even though he was already 22. Then, he shifted the blame, saying he hadn't packed the bag himself and that
I'm a minor, sir. I have security guards. They left that in my bag, sir. I did not pack my bag.
Oh, we can get that all straightened out after the fact, okay? But until then, I have to put you in handcuffs until we figure this out.
Okay.
Okay, you understand that?
Can I call my mom or somebody?
We'll do that after.
Okay.
All right, just turn around for me, be cooperative. Everything's on video and audio surveillance. Plus, I'm on body. You understand that?
someone else must have slipped the weapon in. Talking like that, even if it doesn't directly lead to someone getting locked up, is exactly the kind of thing that gets you labeled a snitch in street circles. To keep his image intact, Lil Meech began surrounding himself with people who actually lived that life. But when the body cam footage from the airport incident went public, several of those people started distancing themselves. They didn't want that kind of attention. Still, a few stood by him. One of them was a guy known as 3 Luck. Maybe he stuck around hoping Meech would step up or eventually clear things up. But things didn't play out that way. By the time 2025 rolled around, everything had unraveled. 3 Luck ended up calling him out online, accusing Lil Meech of doing something pretty outrageous. He claimed that Meech let him take the fall for something major. The whole mess started back on October 24th, 2024. That day, Meech was out running errands, with 3 Luck following along, unaware of what was really going on. What he didn't know was that Lil Meech was already being watched. He was a suspect in an open case. Once authorities ran the license plate on the car, they tracked it and moved in. But instead of stopping immediately, Meech hesitated, as if he might try to get away. Meanwhile, 3 Luck was in the passenger seat, completely out of the loop and unprepared for what was coming. Here's where things really take a turn. While 3 Luck was still asleep in the passenger seat, Lil Meech allegedly began stashing illegal items around his area, trying to hide them without being noticed. By the time the car finally stopped and flashing lights filled the scene, sirens blaring, 3 Luck woke up to chaos. As the officers approached, it hit him. There was something in the car that could get them both in serious trouble. He turned to Meech, and in that moment, everything became clear. The person he thought had his back had just set him up. Once the car was pulled over, police separated both men. And it wasn't until they thoroughly searched the vehicle that they uncovered weapons hidden inside. If you're familiar with firearm laws, you'll know that Florida's rules are far more relaxed compared to states like California or New York. So having guns in the car wasn't exactly a huge deal in this situation. The officers didn't seem overly alarmed either. They were actually close to letting both Lil Meech and 3 Luck go without much issue. But then, Lil Meech did something completely unexpected. Out of nowhere, he told the officers there was more in the vehicle, more things that could raise serious legal problems. He admitted there were additional illegal items inside. Just to be clear, the police hadn't mentioned anything beyond the firearms. That was their only focus, until Lil Meech spoke up. By volunteering more information, he gave the officers a new reason to dig deeper. What could have been a minor issue suddenly escalated into something far more serious. Once the additional weapons were factored in, the situation flipped. 3 Luck ended up getting arrested and hit with charges that led to a 40-month prison sentence. At the time, he had no idea that Lil Meech had quietly pointed the finger at him during the interaction with police. He likely assumed Meech panicked under pressure and tried to hide what was going on. Even though he was upset, he might have told himself, "I'll take the fall. Maybe Meech will hold it down while I'm gone." 3 Luck poured his life savings into fighting the case, hoping to clear his name. But while he struggled, Lil Meech and his circle offered no help at all. Eventually, the truth surfaced. 3 Luck either got access to the police footage or at least heard the part where Lil Meech admitted there were more illegal items in the vehicle. Suddenly, everything made sense. The betrayal hit hard, and it was undeniable. That's when 3 Luck decided to break his silence. He exposed everything on Instagram, sharing proof and posting a recording of a phone call where Lil Meech actually apologized. During that phone call, Lil Meech reportedly assured 3 Luck that he'd send him money and have his back until the BMF show returned. But at the same time, rumors were swirling that the series might not be coming back at all, that 50 Cent was planning to cancel it. Feeling the weight of the situation, 3 Luck reached out again. Meech repeated the same promises, but once more, no help came. The breaking point came when 3 Luck saw the full body cam footage, clear proof that Lil Meech had set him up. That's when he decided to go public and reveal everything. As messy as it looked for Lil Meech, not everyone was surprised. Whispers of betrayal had surrounded him, and even his father, for years. Many said both had a pattern of turning on the very people who stood by them. It's part of why their relationship, 50 Cent, eventually fell apart. 50 wasn't just a producer or executive. He was the glue that held Lil Meech's street credibility and Hollywood image together. He gave him access, guidance, and protection, especially when critics doubted whether Meech Jr. had what it took to carry the BMF legacy. For a while, 50 stood in his corner, shielding him from public backlash and treating him like family. But by 2025, that bond had unraveled, and the fallout became headline material. It all started with what should have been a major moment: Big Meech's release from prison. It was supposed to mark a powerful new chapter, with the BMF name getting a fresh spotlight and his son already having made a mark through the show. Instead, Big Meech made a move no one expected. He teamed up with Rick Ross, 50 Cent's longtime rival, to throw a huge welcome home performance. To 50 Cent, that move crossed a serious line, especially given everything he had done to elevate Lil Meech, keeping the Meech legacy alive in both pop culture and business. He had invested his time, money, and energy into the Flannery family for years. Now, he felt betrayed. And in true Forte 50 fashion, he did what he's always done best. He took it to the internet, his sharpest weapon. 50 Cent didn't hold back. He aired it all out on Instagram. He started mocking both Lil Meech and Big Meech, making his point loud and clear. One of the most outrageous posts was an image of a rat, captioned with the now iconic line, "I think I'm Big Meech." It was a bold jab at Rick Ross's famous lyric, and a not-so-subtle accusation aimed at Big Meech himself, suggesting he had cooperated with authorities. But 50 wasn't done yet. He pushed even harder, taking direct aim at Lil Meech's behavior behind the scenes. He accused him of showing up to set under the influence, acting unprofessionally, and even requiring a stint in rehab during filming. These weren't just offhand comments. 50 backed them up with posts for everyone to see. One of the harshest came in the form of a photo showing Lil Meech slouched in a wheelchair, paired with an image alluding to Amy Winehouse's recovery. The caption read, "Damn, this is bad." Lil Meech tried to brush it off with humor, saying, "Everyone needs rehab where I'm from." But 50 clapped back fast. He dropped a clip of Meech behaving aggressively, adding a sharp caption. He must not have heard them say cut. The implication? Meech was stuck in character, still playing the role of a gangster even when the cameras weren't rolling. At that point, the signs were obvious. The pressure was getting real, and Lil Meech was starting to sweat. Behind the scenes, Lil Meech tried to make peace. He reached out to 50 Cent directly, hoping to smooth things over. But when the private messages were leaked, Meech appeared stunned, hurt, and confused. "I've only ever shown you love," he wrote. "I haven't changed. I don't get all this online drama. You know the real me." He even took a jab at Rick Ross in the texts, saying, "KF Ross. But he gave my dad some money to help with bills until next season." It was his way of showing loyalty. trying to prove he still respected 50. But 50 wasn't buying it. Instead of keeping the conversation private, he posted the texts on Instagram, adding a ruthless caption that mocked Meech and hinted that the BMF show was done for good. In short, he said, "I'm out. No more Meech business." And just like that, the connection was cut. The impact was immediate. In the industry and on the streets, people began looking at Lil Meech differently. When someone as respected and unapologetically real as 50 Cent publicly calls you disloyal, it sticks. Especially in hip-hop, where loyalty is everything. You can argue with someone and bounce back, but betray the person who gave you your shot? That can end careers. And Lil Meech didn't help his case. Instead of laying low or trying to make amends, he went full rebel. Soon after, he was seen partying in Miami with none other than Rick Ross and Floyd Mayweather, two known rivals of 50. That's 2 strikes in the 50 Cent enemy circle. Then came the kicker. Meech posted a photo of the meetup with the caption, "Real Power," a not-so-subtle dig at the Power franchise that 50 Cent built. Lil Meech's team tried to spin the situation. They claimed he was unbothered, too busy launching businesses and focusing on his own lane without 50 Cent. But the damage was already done. To many, it just confirmed what 50 had been saying all along, that when it really mattered, Lil Meech lacked loyalty and could flip sides without hesitation. 50 closed the door. His support disappeared with it. Lil Meech, once seen as a rising figure continuing his father's legacy, was now viewed by some as someone who squandered the opportunity and turned his back on the very people who helped him rise. And through it all, he seemed desperate to fit in. But in a space like this, respect, loyalty, and authenticity aren't optional. They're everything. Without those values, all you've got is a famous name. And even that can fade fast. Outside of the high-profile fallout with 50 Cent and the messy situation with 3 Luck, Lil Meech's story is also filled with smaller incidents. They may not have ended his career, but they've clouded his image. Every few months, there's another headline, a new viral moment, a fresh excuse for why he's not getting the recognition people expected. And when you're carrying a name as heavy as Big Meech, that kind of noise only makes it harder to measure up. Flashback to 2022. Lil Meech was arrested in Miami on charges of grand theft and watch fraud. And this wasn't just any timepiece, it was a $250,000 Richard Mille. According to reports, Lil Meech walked into a luxury jewelry store, took the watch, left a Rolex as collateral, and then disappeared, still owing nearly $200,000. To make matters worse, he allegedly tried to flip the Richard Mille at another store as if it were his. That move looked shady. Even though the charges were eventually dropped, the damage had already been done. The headlines spread fast. Nobody was talking about his acting skills or his rising legacy, just that a BMF star had been linked to a high-end watch scam. It didn't scream power or poise. Instead, it painted a picture of someone trying too hard to flex and fumbling in the process. And then there's his personal life, which hasn't helped his image either. He made headlines again when he began dating R&B singer Summer Walker. Sure, the couple posted a few picture-perfect moments on social media, but behind the scenes, things seemed messy. Cheating rumors started flying, and just when the drama couldn't get any weirder, it did. Comedian Jess Hilarious joked on national TV that Lil Meech had a serious hygiene issue. She claimed he smelled bad, and even poked fun at Summer, saying she must have had a strong stomach to deal with it. That joke lit the internet on fire. Imagine trying to build the image of a powerful figure, the heir to a legendary street name, while getting clowned online for supposedly not wearing deodorant. Lil Meech tried to clap back in the way he knew best. He posted old DMs from Jess Hilarious, attempting to turn the moment around by implying she used to flirt with him. His caption? "You didn't think I smelled bad back then." But by that point, the joke had already landed, and the damage was done. On their own, these celebrity stunts might seem harmless, typical behavior for any young star. But when you look at the bigger picture, a pattern starts to form. To many, Lil Meech isn't coming across as calm, grounded, or genuinely connected to the streets. Instead, he's viewed as reckless, immature, and someone trying to ride his father's legacy without earning the weight that name carries. And the hip-hop world is noticing, especially the older generation and those who really come from the culture. They can see past the social media highlights and curated personas. To them, Lil Meech doesn't reflect the grit or sacrifice that defined Big Meech. They're saying, this kid isn't built like that. Big Meech took real risks, built something massive from nothing, and paid the price. No one's judging Lil Meech for having a different upbringing or going to private school. That's not the problem. The problem is the performance. 50 Cent didn't roast him for living a better life. He roasted him for pretending he didn't. And that's the key. Authenticity. In hip-hop and street culture, that's non-negotiable. You can't fake toughness. You can't earn respect by mimicking pain you never lived through. And when you carry a name like Meech, the expectations are even higher. So if you're out here acting like you were raised by the game, while chasing clout, starting petty drama, and making headlines that don't add up, people won't salute, they'll laugh.